Hey guys, this video is from our latest Rick and Johnny podcast. Make sure to check out the full podcast on blogtalkradio.com/Rick and Johnny. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know Johnny and I had fun recording it. But Johnny, we're actually going to move on into our third segment, which is actually a top 5 segment. And what we are looking at today is our top 5 Marvel superheroes.
Yes.
And how this is going to work. Johnny has a top 5. I have a top 5. They are different. The key twist, the key M. Night Shyamalan of the podcast is Johnny does not know my top 5. And I do not know Johnny's top 5. So we're kind of surprised.
Well, I mean, most of my top 5.
Yes, I know you're number 1. That's about it. And anyone who is a fan of the R&J podcast should know you're number 1. Don't spoil it in the comments down below. But let's start with number 5. Give me your number 5.
Oh, you want to start number 5?
Yeah, I want to start with the low. I want to go from 5 to the top.
Okay.
Because number 1 is like your favorite.
Yeah.
I want to start with number 5 and then go that way. So who's number 5? Who's at the low end of the totem pole?
Number 5. It's going to be kind of strange. He's not like a main hero.
Is he doctor?
No.
Okay. Well, you said kind of strange. Is he a doctor?
Nice try. No, actually, it's going to be Groot.
Oh.
Yeah.
Kind of threw me a curveball there.
Yeah.
Wasn't thinking Guardian. That was one where I'm like, do I put any of the Guardians on there?
See, I wasn't going to.
Do I put Rocket on there? No, I don't.
See, I wasn't going to originally. I thought about, you know what? If there was strictly a Groot comic, I would read it. I mean, obviously, the whole idea would be, I am Groot, I am Groot, I am Groot.
Well, it'd have to be with Rocket.
Yeah, it would have to be.
Yeah.
Or some other person that knows what he's talking about at this point.
Rocket.
Yeah. But, I mean, yeah, it's mostly Guardians, but a lot of it kind of correlates. His personality, how he is as a hero, and he's very sympathetic. I can kind of correlate with that.
How in the movie, how he saves everybody.
Exactly.
By basically killing himself.
But yeah.
Babyfying himself. Yeah. Where we have to regrow Groot.
Yeah.
We have to regrow him with that miracle.
Come on, you're really excited to see that.
Is he the curveball? Is he the curveball that you said? Like,
yeah,
before we were recording, you were like, "I'm going to throw your curveball early on."
He was one of the two. One that would have been a curveball. The other one is kind of a number 6 now. So
okay, who's the number 6?
I was gonna say Juggernaut.
Oh, would he count as a superhero or a villain?
He's both. He's been a villain, but he's also, as soon as he got rid of the gem that makes him super strong, but he was able to keep the powers. I don't remember exactly how that happened.
That would be one that would be interesting.
Yeah.
Because one that didn't make my top 5 that I actually asked you about was Deadpool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you were telling me about that.
Deadpool ended up not making my top 5.
Yeah,
I asked you about it before we recorded, but that would be like in the Juggernaut sense.
Yeah,
is he a hero? Is he a
It's
villain?
kind of hit or miss. It depends on which one you go with. I like Juggernaut, honestly.
Well, I'll be honest. The only 2 Juggernauts I know, like when you say the Juggernaut, my first thought is from the 90s X-Men cartoon.
Yep.
My second thought is, I am the Juggernaut, bitch.
Don't you know who I am?
Don't you know who I am?
I'm the Juggernaut, bitch.
Which, amazing actor. Loved him in Lock, Stock, and 2 Smoking Barrels. But my number 5 is actually from X-Men as well.
Oh, yeah?
Do you think you can guess who it is?
Who?
I'll give you this. I'd say he's not a main X-Men.
Nightcrawler?
Nightcrawler.
Wow.
Nightcrawler is number 5.
Look at that.
Nightcrawler's, and the reason why is when I was growing up, he was always one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Cyclops, to a degree, when I was a kid, was one of my favorites.
Okay.
But as I grew up, I was like, dude, you're a bitch. And I don't like you anymore.
It's a pompous ass.
Not a pompous ass. It was mainly you cry too much in the bad X-Men movies, and I don't like you. Yeah, exactly. So as a kid, I liked Cyclops.
The movie's ruined it for you.
When I grew up, I hated Cyclops. But Nightcrawler, I remember, and this is a nostalgia pick for me.
Okay.
My bookends are nostalgia picks.
Okay.
So my 1 and my 5 are based off nostalgia. Just a little hint there.
I gotcha.
And Nightcrawler to me, I remember I had this Sega game back in the day where it was an X-Men game.
Yes.
And Nightcrawler was one of the playable characters. And I'd love to play him because you could, if you double tapped A, you can go poof, 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 poof. And you could go around the screen and just poof
from
place to place. Like he would jump and it would be like poof, poof, and you can go forward.
Which actually reminds me, interjection with that. I have another X-Men game we should try.
What?
Where it's just you fight as the X-Men and he can teleport in it. And he's got his swords.
What game?
I'd have to get back to you with the name of it exactly.
I'd have to get back to you with it. But the game, now I got to look it up. Guys. It was, I want to say it was just X-Men. Yeah, it was a 1993 X-Men game. So, yeah, because you could play as Gambit, Nightcrawler, Wolverine, and Cyclops. Those were the 3 playable characters. And my 2 favorites to play as were Cyclops and Nightcrawler. Because with Nightcrawler, you could use the teleportation to skip anywhere with the area. Or if you were playing 2 players, and let's say you were on the other side of the screen and I was on the other side, I could teleport to you to help you out. Yeah. And I just like Cyclops because he shot his optic blasts and they rebounded throughout. So I like that. Gambit and Wolverine, it was like Wolverine was too mainstream for me at the time. Yeah. I eventually grew on Wolverine, and then Gambit was just, that was a character Dave always liked. Yeah. I remember.
I do remember Dave talking about Gambit.
Nightcrawler was one of those where I really liked him, and I thought his power was cool of just teleportation and being able to go poof, poof. But he has to see where he's going, Johnny.
2 miles.
He can't go through walls. Remember that. Who's your number 4?
Number 4.
Unless you had something you were going to say about Nightcrawler.
Just the game that I was talking about. It's called X-Men Next Dimension on the PS2.
Okay, I never played that one.
Yeah, no, it's 3D, so you can actually poof anywhere.
Okay.
So we'll have to try that and maybe even throw it up on this.
Yeah, if we can get it. If we can get it recorded. Yeah.
So my number 4. Doctor Strange.
So I almost got
You're almost there.
Is this a right now kind of a pick?
It's a lot of right now. I've heard things throughout the back and forth throughout of Doctor Strange. But I mean, this movie was actually really, really good too. So it kind of brought him back up on the list. Like he was probably in the top 20 somewhere.
Well, like when we were kids, we didn't like. I wouldn't even if you go back to young kid Ricky, and said, "Who's Doctor Strange?" I'd be like, "What?
Who
are you talking about? Who's Doctor Strange?"
Yeah, and I mean, he made cameos. I think he even made a cameo in the Spider-Man movie, but he wasn't there. And I looked into him a little bit, especially in like high school when the internet was more of a prevalent thing. So I mean, when this movie finally came out,
pixel by pixel,
exactly. But as
DSL baby,
when this movie came out, it actually kind of brought him back up on the list. So, I mean, Sorcerer Supreme, what's not to like?
My 4 is going to throw you through a wall.
Okay.
Captain America at 4 on my list.
I'm surprised he's at 4, honestly, because this guy cosplayed as him. He still has the replica shield.
Well, I still have the replica shield.
That we made.
I did a cosplay when me, you, and a bunch of our other friends
the Avengers.
Did the Avengers. Dave kind of copped out and then wanted to be an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. at the very end because he saw that how cool we looked. And how everyone wanted to take our pictures. But yeah, I mean, with Captain America, it's one of those ones where I didn't really get into him until the movie.
Okay.
Like, because to be honest, and this is the thing we were kind of talking about before we started recording this segment, was when we were kids, there weren't many Marvel.
No, not a lot.
In TV, and like we never had these superhero movies like we do now. Like if I was growing up right now, maybe Captain America would be my favorite Marvel hero.
Possibly. I mean, who knows what it would be if we were growing up now.
Like when we were growing up, I wanted to say DC. Maybe it's because I latched on to DC more, but I felt like DC was more popular than Marvel at the time, unless it's like X-Men and Spider-Man, because those were kind of the big 2 cartoons that we saw. But like Batman was huge, Superman was huge, Wonder Woman and Justice League and all that they had. The Avengers cartoons didn't really appeal.
Oh, we didn't have Avengers cartoons until like the mid to late 2000s. So we had like an Iron Man in the 90s that was so. Hulk was okay. I actually watched Hulk here and there. It was Spider-Man, X-Men, and Batman. I wasn't a huge fan of Superman.
The only Marvel cartoons I remember watching are X-Men and Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Those were the only 2.
Well, I mean, we didn't even have a lot out in the first place. So
like it was, we just missed the like Captain America, Iron Man, Hulk, Thor from like the 80s and stuff like that.
Actually, those were
And
from
before that.
Yeah, those are from way before that.
Yeah.
But I mean,
But,
we
like,
didn't, so we didn't even have them.
They replayed more syndicated in the 80s and 70s
Yeah,
and
that's
80s,
true.
like when our parents
Yeah,
were
that's
kids.
true.
Because like my dad would talk about like the Thor cartoon, and I would be like, I don't know what you're talking about, Dad. I don't like Thor. Who's Thor? And
Yeah.
that's what it would be like. Whereas that's why Cap, he's on my list at 4. He's got to be in my top 5 because, like you said, I do have that kind of attachment. I did talk about in our first topic this week of that attachment to Cap, but there are just 3 more
that kind
that
of
I
beat
have
it
a
out.
little bit more attached. Well, 2 are attachment, 1 is cool factor.
Okay.
I'll give you that. Who's your number 3?
Number 3 kind of goes along with the lines of your Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it's because
Is it Thor?
it's Thor.
Okay.
Because, I mean, I cosplayed as him with you guys. I cosplayed as him again.
We kind of forced you. You throw this out to me a lot. You say the line, "Well, you guys kind of forced it on me."
Well, when we started divvying up who was going to be who in the comic of the Avengers, this guy says straight to my face, "Well, you're Thor." I'm like, okay. When was I able to pick this? But that actually kind of got me rolling into it. It's like, you know what? I should start looking at this character. I started reading more into it. I enjoyed it more. Yeah, he's actually my number 3.
Well, because we had two other friends with us, Mike and Ron, and Ron he was the tech guy, loved Tony Stark.
He was adamant about being Tony Stark.
We knew that and this is kind of, you could see it as like an ego thing for me, but like after high school,
Yeah.
every single friend group I've been in, I've seen myself as the leader.
Yeah.
And maybe it's, like I said, it's an ego thing. You never want to see yourself as the follower. You're always going to see yourself as the leader. So I was like, you know what? I like Cap. I'm going with Cap. Then Mike, the Incredible Hulk. Who did that leave you with?
Exactly. It left me with the one Avenger that was left.
You could be Black Panther.
He wasn't in the first movie,
He was not in the first movie. You're
which is
right.
why we didn't do
You could
him.
be Hawkeye. Could have been Hawkeye. Could have been
on.
Black Widow.
Let's be real. Let's be real.
Could have been Black Widow.
Let's be real. We need the main 4 before we do anyone else.
Did you not want to be Black Widow?
Maybe a little bit.
You could
But
have been Nick Fury. Like from the comics, Nick Fury.
come on. We need the base 4 before anything else. You need the base 4.
Could have been War Machine.
You're just looking at the poster.
I
now.
am. I'm looking at the poster.
And let's be fair. I did do a War Machine.
You did do a War Machine in later Comic-Cons, but
Yes.
my 3, I'm going to throw this out there, and I'm going to let you guess why he's on the list.
Okay.
Daredevil.
Daredevil, because he's a lot like Batman.
Because he's a lot like Batman.
Surprise,
And part of
surprise.
me didn't want to put him on the list
Okay,
because of Ben Affleck.
that's true.
That was a terrible, terrible Daredevil movie.
It was not that great. No.
However, this last Netflix
series,
Daredevil, I love Batman. Why wouldn't I love Daredevil?
They're
Like they are almost the same character except one's rich and one's not.
yeah, exactly. Even one's well-to-do. He's a lawyer.
But they are both they're both that same kind of fight in the dark. They've kind of have questionable morals at times.
yeah,
Where it's one of those things
parents killed
where
by bad
parents
people.
are killed by bad people. Basically you could just say accidents both happen to them.
Yeah,
Parents get shot and basically gets dumped with just radiation ooze that makes him blind but has superpowers. So I mean, and
just
plus,
echolocation.
Plus, the one thing I've always liked about Batman, I know this is not Marvel, but it leads into Daredevil,
Yeah,
is I loved Batman because he never needed superpowers.
Yep.
Like, we were talking with one of my good friends, his name's Pete, and he was saying, and this is a topic, I would love to have this topic on a different day, maybe have him on the Rick and Johnny podcast to talk about it, but he was saying that the more relatable superhero is Superman over Batman. Where I say it's vice versa, it's Batman. Because for me, and I don't want to get into that.
yeah,
I was just setting up where I'm coming from, where Batman to me is more relatable because I can look at Batman and say, there is a better shot at me becoming Batman than there is me becoming Superman.
yep.
And his thought was totally the other side, and he went into it. But that's the same thing with Daredevil. Besides and that's why I didn't like the Ben Affleck version with the seeing through noise.
Yeah, the echolocation.
The only thing with Daredevil that makes him different is he has supersonic hearing.
Yeah.
And he kind of has like a sonar kind of thing going on where he can hear the noise and then kind of like determine where you are, kind of a thing.
Yeah, actually, which isn't far off anymore, because there are people who that are blind that learn to ride bikes and stuff because they can.
And that's why
see.
this Netflix series kind of maybe put Daredevil in this top 5, because he didn't know how to use that skill until Stick taught him.
Exactly.
Kind of like in the comics as well, when Stick is in the one Daredevil. It's a Graphic Conversation Reddit. You can go check it out on Vlog Talk Radio or iTunes. Stick was in that one too, and it was exactly like in the Netflix series where he kind of taught Daredevil, and it's one of those relatable factors where it's like any normal guy could be Batman, any normal guy could be Daredevil. The only thing Daredevil has is phenomenal hearing.
Yeah.
Who's your number 2?
Number 2. Speaking of a guy that doesn't have superpowers.
Is it Nick Fury?
No, it's Iron Man.
Oh,
He does not have superpowers.
Iron Man, not in my top 5 at all.
Yeah, he's in my top. He's number 2.
Not in my top 5 at all.
For a multitude of reasons. I mean, Robert Downey Jr. is one of my favorite actors. Honestly, I've seen him in more than
he is Tony Stark.
He is Tony Stark, but I've seen him in stuff way before
Tony
that.
Stark
I liked
is
him.
actually your favorite actor.
Yes, Tony Stark's my favorite actor. But I mean, it kind of the 2008 movie is kind of what like put in the back of my head of eventually going into engineering. It's one of the little things that plays into me going into engineering is
Tony Stark.
Yeah, honestly, it is, and some people might think that's weird. I think that no, you know what?
Everyone has their own.
It's a good inspiration.
Everybody has their own influences and inspirations.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not going to solely say this is why I'm becoming an engineer. That would be probably a bad reason to do that.
Plus, you like working with your hands.
I love working with my hands.
This thing up here, I don't know if you guys can see it.
The little hook.
The little hook. Yeah, Johnny was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna make this," and just before the podcast, just bent
we
it.
need something to. I need something to hang it up on, so I just.
But
made it real
that's
quick.
like kind of the person that you are.
And I mean,
and that's why like you're into cosplay and everything, because you actually love.
I love building.
Getting
the stuff.
in there and just building the stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if I ever get a chance to, I'm going to start recording it, and maybe we can throw it on the channel when I actually get this summer when I finally have time to do it.
Totes my goats.
So yeah, I mean, he's my number 2. He's kind of an inspiration to me of normal people can do extraordinary things if you just
kind of like my Batman.
You put your mind to it.
Except they're rich.
They're rich. I'm not rich.
That's the only thing they have on us. They're rich.
It kind of inspired me to kind of go into the engineering when I didn't know what I was going to do.
Yep.
And you know what? Just phenomenal actor, phenomenal movies.
My number 2 is actually going to lead us into your number 1. Wolverine.
Okay.
Wolverine's my number 2. And mainly for you, it's a different one because I know he's your number 1, spoiler alert.
He ruined it.
But my number 2 for Wolverine is basically, he's cool.
Yeah.
He's so cool. Like,
he's badass.
In the animated series, he was my favorite character watching that X-Men series.
As
like
you put it, he was a wild card, right?
Yeah, it wasn't like favorite character where I wanted to be Wolverine, but it was my favorite character where I was hoping he was in the episode.
Yeah.
Because he made the episodes so much more funny. Much more funny. Funnier. Yeah.
Either way. We're not English majors.
He made it to where I actually, and like the iconic yellow suit, yellow and blue suit.
I know you really like that suit.
It was just it implanted into my head, and then once Hugh Jackman took over the character and kind of catapulted it, he is just a cool character for me. I know it's not the same reason as you love Wolverine.
Yeah.
You're going to get into that, but for me, it was just, he's so cool, and it's just snick, snick, and it was just like, boom, he's there, and it was, to me, my favorite Wolverine is that yellow costume animated series Wolverine.
Yeah. Well, as he ruined it, my number 1 is Wolverine. You know what? He's been my favorite.
Played perfectly right into your number 1.
That's true. It did help kind of catapult my number 1. Well, I mean, along with the reasons you said, he was my favorite in the cartoon series and just had the healing factor. I'll be honest, I was sick as a kid. And as you can hear in my voice now, I'm sick right now. No,
Plus, you always like find a way to hurt. You're not going to hurt other people. You're just going to hurt yourself.
I'm gonna hurt myself. I end up always hurting myself, or I was kind of sick with things that aren't just colds and stuff.
I want to actually. This is going to be, and this is if you want to tell the story.
Yeah.
But tell the fans if you want to about a certain sledding accident.
Yes.
Because that to me is like
I've got two of those, but
with the barricade is the one I'm thinking of. This is indicative of how Johnny hurts himself. Give him the Cliff Notes
me
version.
and two friends about the same size as me were on a toboggan going down a sled hill. Some other group of people were playing with construction barricades. The kind of the horses you see when construction on the street's going on. I had no idea who they were. Well, whenever you're on a toboggan, you have a little like half inch to the right, half inch to the left. You shoot that direction. Well, we had a little half inch to the left. Three guys I was about 250 pounds then.
So about your size?
About my size.
Okay.
Two other guys, we shot like a rocket. And we realized we're going to hit this thing head on. Well, we decided to tumble off. In the tumble, I still ended up punching the barricade because I had no idea I punched it. I just got to the bottom after rolling to the bottom of the hill, head over heels, down at the bottom, like, my hand really hurts.
Like throbbing?
Yeah, kind of. It's like, I must have landed on it funny. Let's sled for another half hour to hour. After a while, I'm like, yeah, someone's got to take me home. I'm not feeling good from this hand falling on my hand. And then I put two and two together. I punched that sign.
I broke my hand.
No, that was in the morning when I'm laying on the couch and my hand like this, and my sister looks at like, your hand's really swollen. I'm like, yeah, it hurt. Or I'm like, my hand really hurts a lot. Your hand's broken. I said, Mom's gonna kill me.
And I love
first worry.
I love how that's always the first thought. Mom and Dad are gonna kill me.
That was the first thought. Not that, man, my hand really hurts.
Man, I
not
hope
that
I'm okay. No, Mom's gonna kill me.
Yeah, no, that was the first thought. But the reason I say this story is I injured myself a lot. I had honestly one or two chronic things that I still kind of suffer from here and there. And the thought was, you know what? He has a healing factor.
If only I had a healing factor.
If only I had the healing factor. And it kind of, you know what? His personality of always being a fighter is what got me through those things. So whenever throughout grade school and high school, I would get horrible dizzy spells and make the room spin. Just that kind of the idea of that character in the back of my head having, he's a fighter. I'm going to fight through this. So he kind of
gave you the
oomph to fight through these things.
He kind of gave you the inspiration to say, hey, I'm gonna give it my extra all.
Which is why he's always, since a kid, been my number one. He was that much of an inspiration to me. And
that is the stuff with superheroes that I love the most.
Yeah, I know.
The attachment that you get to these heroes and what they mean to you on a level. But before we get into my number one, I just want to say, you know how you were like, your first thought was, oh, Mom's going to kill me?
Yeah.
It's like, you don't know how many times I have heard, if you've ever seen F is for Family,
yes.
the Bill Burr
hilarious
TV series on Netflix, the scene when Bill Burr as the dad goes, well, son, while I'm gone, you're the man in the house. Take care of your sister. If anything happens to her, I'm going to put you through this fucking wall. Have a good one, sweetheart. How many times I heard, put that down and I'm going to put you through this fucking wall. Ricky, stop it and I'm going to put you through this fucking wall.
Yep.
I'd be rich. If I had a dime if I had a penny
for every time you heard that,
I heard that my parents are going to put me through a wall, I would be rich. But my number one, and this is funny because you nagged on him before we recorded.
I think I know who you're talking about now.
Spider-Man.
Yep.
Spider-Man's my number one.
Nostalgia from the childhood?
Very much nostalgia. Like,
okay.
With me, Marvel, like my Marvel in the 90s, it's my top two.
Yeah.
X-Men and Spider-Man.
That's true.
What it was I'd come home from school. Like, with mine, it's not like yours, where like you had an attachment to this character.
Yeah.
That's Batman to me. That's DC.
Your DC.
But in this sense, it was, especially in elementary school through the 90s, because like the 90s was about, let's see, I was born in 90, so about 9-10 years old would have been about to, fourth grade was when the 2000s started. That was about 10 years old.
Something like that.
So like in elementary school, how it would work for me, the point is, what would happen is my parents both worked in the day.
Yeah.
And
Fourth or fifth grade.
neither of them could pick me up. So what it would be is I'd get out about 3 o'clock. My grandfather would be there, would pick me up. We would go back to their house. When I got home, my grandmother would have a meal ready for us. Usually it was the same thing, but me and my sister loved it. It was a plate of mashed potatoes with the cooked turkey, like the sliced turkey you get from the deli. That heated up, sprinkled on top with gravy.
Nice.
And it was a great meal. And I'd come home, I'd have a meal after school while watching some TV. And then what I would do until my parents picked me up at about, I don't know, like 5, 6 o'clock, depending on which parent got off first and was able to pick us up, I would go into the family room and I would plop my ass in front of the TV. And I would just watch TV. I would watch Dragon Ball Z. I would watch Batman. I would watch Superman. I would watch Spider-Man. I would watch X-Men. I would watch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yep.
If I wasn't feeling any of that, we had the VHS. I'm getting old. VHSs. And my favorite VHSs were the Disney sing-alongs.
Okay, I remember
where
those.
You pop it in, it'd have the song, and the little head would, the owl at the beginning. But that's what I would do. I would just watch TV.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'd have toys and I'd be playing with like my action figures and stuff while watching TV. And the one Marvel cartoon besides X-Men that was always on is Spider-Man.
Yeah, I remember.
And that was the one that latched me on to Spider-Man. And Spider-Man more than the X-Men, because even at the age of 9, 10 years old, it was one of those things where he was closer to my age than any other superhero.
That's true.
He was like a kid.
Yeah.
And I could relate to him a little bit more than I could. Like, Batman was my favorite. But Batman was an adult. Spider-Man wasn't.
That's true.
Spider-Man was going to school. Spider-Man was in school. He was a student. It was nothing like now where it's like, if I was in high school, would have been a total different experience, because I would be able to say, yes, I relate 100% to Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Because he's a high schooler like me. But just having him closer to my age was just like,
a little bit more in
like
common.
Spider-Man. Plus that I would say that cartoon series I liked better than X-Men. Okay. Like, if I had to pick between the two, I would watch Spider-Man.
Okay.
But let's be honest, the one that I was never going to miss is the two that I never turned off if they were on, Batman and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Those were the two.
Can't blame you.
The Turtles were my jam, Johnny. The Turtles were my jam. But before we wrap this up, any last thoughts on our top 5? Did mine surprise you? Any thoughts on your top 5?
Some of yours surprised me a little bit. I knew Cap was going to be in there. Your Spider-Man.
You didn't know Cap would be so low.
I didn't think Cap would be so low.
You thought Cap was going to be number 1.
Well, after talking about it with you, it didn't seem like it.
But you, like, coming into it, you were like, oh, Cap's his number 1.
I'm like, I'm thinking, oh, he loved Cap. Cap's going to be his number 1 because he talked about him all the time. I was a little surprised Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. That's why when
you're asking me.
You guys didn't see that. I was like, oh, what do you think? And you said, like, oh, Spider-Man's not my top 5. And I'm just thinking, oh, well, I want to see, and that's when I threw out well, you know what? I want them to be a surprise. I don't want to know each other's.
Yeah.
Because after you said that, I'm like, well, it's got to be a surprise now. Now that Spider-Man's not in his top 5 and it's number 1 on mine.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, down in the comments below, I want to hear not just who your favorites are, top 5, just your favorite one, but why? Like, why you're so connected to this hero.
Kind of like how we gave you.
Yeah, kind of like my Wolverine. Give me your Wolverine.
Give Johnny, like he's saying, the top 5. Give him your favorite. Give him why. Because that's what this is. And this is the one thing with all of our podcasts.
Yeah.
We have sat in here. We have given you our kind of reasoning. But whenever we say comment down in the comment section, that's because we want to put the discussion on to you. We want to know what you guys think, so then we can just create a conversation down below in the comment section. You talking about your favorite heroes, we're talking about our favorite heroes. maybe somebody else has the same hero as you and gets in on the conversation as well. And it's just a nice platform to kind of share these ideas and kind of talk about what makes these heroes so special to us.
Because isn't that what the heroes are about? The main thing is finding your connection, giving you that inspiration to do what you want to do in your life.
Modern day fables. That is what they are. Modern day Greek mythology. Like, that was the one thing I heard, and this is the last thing I will end the podcast on, is when I was in college and worked for my radio station. He is now a friend of mine, but my boss back then. He said that he had a teacher in high school that related Greek mythology to the superheroes.
Yeah, totally.
And he would bring in comics for them to read when they would go over like Greek mythology. And that's what superheroes are. There are modern day Greek mythology. These bigger than life gods that, like, Superman, you're never going to actually be Superman.
Yeah.
But you can relate to Superman, just like the Greeks related to Zeus, Athena, Hercules, and actually were able to use them as inspirations.
Yeah.
But this is where you guys come in. Let us know in the comment section what you guys think. Also, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Make sure to check us out on patreon.com/Most Valuable Podcast. If you love the conversations we're having here, you love the podcast, make sure to go to Patreon. Give us your support. Any help makes it leaps and bounds and makes us able to do bigger and newer things for you. You guys see the green screen for our videos. That is because of patrons and viewers like you. I want to thank you guys for either watching on YouTube or listening to us on Blog Talk Radio, iTunes, and Stitcher. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, have a good day, everybody.
I don't know about this, Rick.
Just do it, Morty.
Thank you for watching Most Valuable Podcast video. If you want to watch more of them, just watch them right here. And thank you for watching.